I was just about to steal something from my neighborhood corner store when my entire life changed for the better. I was a 10-year-old kid growing up in the South Bronx when a bunch of friends of mine, friends, right, came up to me and they told me that they were about to go into the store and I should come with them. And, let's steal, just some things from the store so we can have, something to eat when we come out. And normally I wouldn't, have succumbed to that, but for some reason it was something about that day. I just, I was like, okay, and I went with them. And I go into the store and, I wound up putting like a bag of chips or something under my coat and I'm trying to walk out and, I looked like I knew that what I was doing was wrong because I felt it in my spirit and my soul. I felt I was doing something wrong. And, the guy, at the store, he knew me. He saw my face and sure enough, he bust me, right? So the first thing he does, not only did he know me, he knew my whole family, right? He knew my mom, right? So the first thing he did was tell my mom. So guess what my mom did? She whipped my behind. Now, any of you old school parents out there, and even some of you old school kids, you know what that meant, right? That was just coming. But here's the thing. I don't remember that behind whipping. I just don't, right? It just wasn't that impactful for me. It was one of many that I had as a kid. But there was something else my mom did that helped change my life. And, old school parents, you know this too. First thing she did was she told everybody in my family what I did wrong, right? Including her parents, my grandparents, who I was very close to, right? I grew up, up until I was 5 years old. My mom and I lived with them, right? Grandma and grandpa. So, grandpa was that type. He was that older man that was really funny. He always had jokes, made everybody laugh. He was the grandpa that made you pull his finger, right? Pull my finger. And you know what he would do after that if you had an old school grandpa. And so he was that type of guy, always playing around with me and my cousins and stuff. So funny thing, I go over to his house after all this happens. And the first thing he does, he looks me dead in the eye and he says, come with me, son. I'm like, okay, here we go, right? So, I know my mom, I knew how that went down. So I'm thinking, is this how it's going to go down with grandpa? But it didn't. Funny thing, he never raised his voice. He sat me down on the bed in his bedroom and he said, son, first thing that'll happen is it'll start with this. And he picked up a pen and he put it down on the desk. So the next thing you know, it'll be this. And he picked up like a cup like this. He put it down right next to the pen. So the next thing you know, after all of that, it will be this. And he picked up this table lamp, right? And then he put that down on the table. And he said, listen to me, son. He said, Berlacks have always been on the right side of the law. And then he went on to tell me the stories about him as, as a private detective in New York for over 30 years and how his son, my uncle, was a court officer and had been for decades, right? And he talked about the fact that we were always on the right side of the law. Berlack always did the right thing. And he imbued in me this sense of family history, this strength that I had in me that I wasn't aware of. He talked to me about why I have strength and how my name means something, right? And then the honest thing, he just turned on his heel and walked back out the room, never raised his voice, and he never spoke to me about it again. And it was something I never forgot. From that point on, anybody ever came to me with some nonsense, first thing I would tell them, Berlacks don't do that. It was funny. I believed it, right? It became part of me. Berlacks don't do that. I never succumbed to that kind of nonsense again. And some of you out here right now are dealing with that kind of nonsense, people whispering in your ear, telling you things that you know are wrong, telling you about who you are, or telling you things like you'll never make it and you can't do what you dream of doing. And so I coach people and I help them get through these challenges because the question right now is, where do you get your strength from? Who are you? Where do you get the knowledge that you need to overcome the challenges you face today? Some of you are tired of dealing with these challenges. Some of you are dealing with finances, with personal relationships, with work relationships. You don't know how to deal with it and you can't figure out how to handle it on your own. Well, that's why I'm here. I'm Steve Berlack, the Inner Vision Navigator. I take these inner visions, this strength, and I help you overcome the challenges that you're facing to live the life that you dream of. Go ahead, click the button below. Get an Achieve Your Inner Vision strategy session with me. It's a 1-hour phone call. It's complimentary. Now, it's a $500 value, but I'm doing this because this is what I do. I really want to reach out and help people like you overcome these challenges. Don't forget also subscribe, because when you subscribe to this channel, it actually helps me to reach out to other people and help them as well. So until then, I look forward to talking with you. Go ahead and schedule that strategy session. I look forward to it. This is your Inner Vision. Broadcast your inner champ.